Imagine waking up to a sky brighter than anything you've ever seen. The sun, our eternal giver of warmth and life, suddenly tearing itself apart in one final, violent burst. A supernova, not in some distant galaxy, but here. In our backyard. The air shakes. The ground trembles. For one brief instant, the entire sky becomes a white, searing wall of light. The sun, the very reason we exist, dies in front of our eyes. What would happen to us, to Earth, to every trace of life we know, if the sun exploded tomorrow? Stay with me. Because the answer is more terrifying, and more fascinating, than you might think. The star we depend on. The sun isn't just a ball of fire in the sky. It is a nuclear furnace, 865,000 miles wide, a glowing sphere of plasma where atoms are crushed together under unimaginable pressure. Every second, the sun burns 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium. The energy released travels across 93 million miles of space, bathing Earth in warmth and light. It provides food to the plants that sustain us. It powers the winds, the rains, the oceans. It dictates the rhythm of every living creature's day. Without it, there is nothing. And it holds more than just our planet. Its gravity locks Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune into their eternal dance. The sun is the anchor, the cosmic center, the one thing holding the solar system together. But stars do not live forever. They are born in clouds of dust. They burn through their fuel. And eventually, they die. Scientists estimate that the sun has about 5 billion years left before it naturally transforms into a red giant. It should swell, shed its outer layers, and shrink into a white dwarf, a slow, almost peaceful death. But let's break the rules of time. Let's imagine the impossible. What if that final act happened tomorrow? The impossible made real. To understand the chaos, we first need to understand what an exploding sun really means. A supernova is the most violent event in the known universe. When a star much larger than our sun burns through its fuel, it collapses under its own gravity. The core shrinks, pressure builds, and then, detonation. Our sun is too small to explode this way. In reality, it will never become a true supernova. But in this scenario, we bend the rules of physics. Imagine our sun suddenly gaining the mass of a giant star. Imagine it collapsing into itself, then erupting outward with the force of billions of nuclear bombs going off each second. The result? A burst of energy so massive, it would outshine entire galaxies. A single supernova can release more power in one instant than our sun has given off in its entire 4.5 billion-year lifetime. And Earth, sitting just 93 million miles away, would not stand a chance. What would happen? Moment zero, the flash. The very first sign would be light. 8 minutes after the sun explodes, its final signal reaches Earth, a wave of pure radiation. Gamma rays, X-rays, and blinding energy would tear through the atmosphere. The protective ozone layer, which shields us from harmful rays, would be obliterated in an instant. For anything alive and exposed under the sky, death would be immediate. Radiation would tear apart DNA, burn skin, and fry electronics across the globe. Satellites would blink out. Communications would collapse. Power grids would short-circuit as the planet plunged into chaos. In a single moment, civilization would go dark. The first hour, oceans on fire. But radiation is only the beginning. As the shockwave of energy reaches Earth, temperatures would surge higher than anything in recorded history. The seas, which cover over 70% of our planet, would begin to boil. Water would rise as vapor, filling the air with superheated steam. The sky itself would ignite. Cities would burn until they were nothing but molten ruins. The delicate balance of blue oceans and green continents would be erased. Earth would become a furnace, a sphere of scorched rock. The first day, a planet unmoored. But something even stranger would follow. The Sun is more than a light source. It is the gravitational anchor of the solar system. Without it, the orbits of planets cannot exist. When the Sun explodes, Earth would lose its tether. Instead of orbiting in a perfect ellipse, our world would drift free into the void. Imagine Earth, glowing with fire, flung from its path like a stone from a sling. It would wander endlessly, a broken world drifting into the darkness of the Milky Way. The first week, silence. If any survivors managed to hide deep underground, the illusion of safety would quickly fade. With no sun, the planet would begin to freeze. Temperatures would plunge hundreds of degrees below zero. The last traces of atmosphere would condense and fall as ice. Crops would wither. Food would vanish. Within days, the Earth would be a frozen tomb. There would be no dawn. No future. Only silence. Historical and scientific context. Supernovas might sound like science fiction, but they are very real. In the year 1054, Chinese astronomers recorded the sudden appearance of a star so bright, it lit the daytime sky for weeks. Today, its remains are known as the Crab Nebula. In 1987, scientists witnessed another, supernova 1987A, in the Large Magellanic Cloud, a galaxy 168,000 light-years away. For a brief moment, it outshone every star in its galaxy combined. These events were far away. They were safe. We could watch them without fear. But if one happened here, in our solar system, we would not be observers. We would be casualties. Beyond Earth, ripple effects in the cosmos. The Sun's explosion would not stop at Earth. Mercury and Venus, already closest to the Sun, would be obliterated instantly, vaporized into dust. Mars, with its thin atmosphere, would be seared bare, left as a scorched desert. Jupiter and Saturn, massive gas giants, could lose entire layers of their atmospheres, shredded by radiation and cosmic winds. Uranus and Neptune, on the edge of the solar system, might be hurled into interstellar space, their orbits broken forever. The careful harmony of planets, moons, and asteroids, destroyed. The solar system, once a family bound by gravity, would scatter like ashes in the wind. The bigger picture, survival and legacy. So, could anything survive? On Earth, no. Every form of life, from the largest whale to the smallest microbe, would be erased. But in the universe, survival looks different. A supernova does more than destroy. It creates. The explosion would fling elements like carbon, iron, gold, and uranium into space, the very elements that make up our bodies, our bones, and our blood. Over millions of years, those particles could gather again. Clouds of dust could form new stars, new planets, new chances for life. The death of one star seeds the birth of another. Our Sun's violent end would be the beginning of something new.
If the Sun exploded tomorrow, our story would end in fire, silence, and eternal night. But the cosmos would go on. It always does. The terrifying truth is this. Everything we are, everything we see, is borrowed from the life of a star. And someday, even our Sun will surrender to time. The real question isn't if stars will die. They always do. The real question is, what new worlds will rise when they do? So ask yourself, if our Sun is destined to fade, what will the universe look like when it's gone?